What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Kakashi Crypto. This house going down. In this episode, we're going to be talking entirely about Vechain. So, looking at the price here, we can see that we're just over 1.5 cent here. Market cap is now over 1 billion, which is good to see. Bring out the champagne bottles. Hopefully, this gets 100x, 10x in the next 12 months or so. Maybe 100x is a bit too bullish, but 10x, yeah, definitely.
Stephen, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
Having money on my mind, I having money in my pocket. Bone marrow roasted, spread it on the rosemary bread, lightly toasted, drizzle with the vinaigrette.
First of all, let's look at this clip here of a legendary investor, Michael Maloney, and if you guys don't know who he basically is the owner of goldsilver.com. He's got a book coming out on gold, silver, and crypto as well. Fairly well-known guy, but yeah, let's look at the clip now.
Gold, silver, cryptos. I've got all three. I believe in all three. It's very disappointing and disheartening to see that there's crypto people out there that want to beat up on gold and silver for some reason, and they only pick gold and silver. They don't beat up on bonds or stocks, these things that are incredibly overvalued, that people should be running from for their lives. And real estate is in a bubble in so many areas. They're picking on gold and silver, which are fundamentally undervalued by most measures. I mean, I don't know how to measure gold as being overvalued when you measure it against the other stuff in society. It isn't. It's severely undervalued. I personally don't know how to measure cryptocurrencies. I think, though, that the demand for them in the future is going to be big because, I'm sort of an oddball. I'm in my 60s and I've got cryptocurrencies. People that are over 50 don't understand cryptocurrencies usually as well as people that are 40 and under. If you're 30 years old, in your 20s, virtual assets are just as real to a lot of these people as an ounce of gold or a house. And so that is one of the fundamental reasons that these are going to do well in the future, is that there's, some of the older guys treat cryptos with a lot of suspicion and distrust. They just don't understand what they are and how they work. I'm not one of those guys. I believe in both. I own both. And my major bet I've bet my life on gold, silver, and cryptocurrency.
So as you can see, slowly but surely, Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are seeping its way into society, and I believe they will be the new financial infrastructure for the world. I'm sure many of you believe that. Talking about that, let's talk about the new supply chain logistics of Vechain and what they offer to the world. So just going to briefly go over their Twitter, and then we'll go over this particular article, and then we'll look at the prices of Vechain against USD and BTC in later parts of this video. But you can see here they have had another integration with another hospital, creating an app to basically help COVID patients. The hospital name eludes me. There we go. It's Areteo Hospital. I may have pronounced that wrong. And the app is called EH Cert app. I definitely butchered that, but it's a bit of a mouthful. EH Cert app. And also we can see here that Vechain has another integration with the Singapore University of Social Sciences. I'm not going to go over this article today, but feel free to check this out. But the article we'll be checking out is the first one that I mentioned, basically, which is the app. So essentially, I'll just give you guys the quick rundown. During 2020, there was the whole pandemonium, and basically this app allowed people to collaborate on blockchain enabled medical solutions, as it says here, and essentially they were able to get antibody test records, which enabled a solution which was implemented at the Mediterranean Hospital of Cyprus between June and August, and this helped more than 8,000 people. So long story short, we have another hospital joining the list of institutions that are utilizing the Vechain blockchain in order to verify, or just help the process of tracking supply chain and management, which is very, very good to see. Just a quick rundown of how the app works. It's very, very simple, but the patient goes to the lab, then the lab doctor takes the sample. The sample is then sent for analysis. The prescription of the doctor, the doctor receives the results, and then the patient receives a notification from the app, and then the app or the patient can check anytime, anywhere, his results on the app. Unlike some British apps that don't work very, very well. Number one being patient access, they are a joke. But yeah, then from there the patient can share any information it wants with doctors, which is very, very good to see. It's a progressive, natural, beautiful cycle, which I love to see. Okay, it's amazing. Looking at Vechain prices really quick. So this is Vechain BTC. Pretty much macro is still trading downwards against, I mean, you could argue that we're setting in higher lows, which we have technically, but in terms of macro structure, this is quite bearish. We put in a fat head and shoulders here, which if you were able to capitalize on that, well done to you. Now I believe we're forming a falling wedge. This could get invalidated at any point, but you can see here that it's being well respected so far. Potential upside would be from the breakout point of November 23rd, and that would be roughly a 2x. Currently it's sitting at around 26% or so, but there is a lot more room for upside, especially if Bitcoin can continue to go sideways for the next few weeks, at least till the end of the year or so. Ultimately, the price target we want to see is 133 satoshis per Vechain. Looking at Vechain USD, we can see here a nice steady incline of the price. We held support here. I can't remember when I drew this, but we've held support here, and now we are going back to test the summer highs of around 0.021 cent or so. If Bitcoin continues to trade sideways, then I do believe this is definitely on the table. Ultimately, we're in a good space. We have got room to grow. Market cap is 1 billion. I believe it's inevitable, before we get into the top 20, then top 10, hopefully top 5. But this technology is amazing. The fact that you can also make money off of it as well, even better. Okay, so I hope that is giving you Vechain lovers enough feel for the day. So yeah, before we end the video, I just want to give you guys some potential trends to look out for in the next 12 months or so, in no particular order. I'm not going to mention all of them, but I'm going to give you my take on them basically. All right, obviously Bitcoin will go up, thank you to central banks printing mass amounts of fiat currency, and then also everything being based on Ethereum as well. That is something to look out for, especially with DeFi being on there, NFTs, etc. And then, like I mentioned, DeFi as well. I don't think necessarily there'll be a bank-free future, as people will need sort of I do believe everything will be on the blockchain, but it will be a digitalized version. There won't necessarily be in-store banks and stuff, and I don't believe this will happen in the next year. This will be over the next decade, to 2 decades anyway. Also, stable coins as well. As you guys know, CBDCs are a thing, and they're in formulation now. Don't know whether they'll come out next year or the next 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever it is, but they are coming 100%. Also, crypto lending as well. As we've seen, there has been a sort of liquidity crisis in traditional markets, but the crypto markets are booming essentially. We've seen, or you've seen yourself, that your bank is offering you pittance for interest in terms of keeping money on your bank account, whereas crypto lending platforms, the crypto banks like BlockFi, for example, like Celsius, like Nexo, my favorite platform at the moment, they offer you a lucrative amount of interest to hold your crypto, to hold your fiat, to hold your stable coins. Okay, they can't. The banks can't compete. Okay, they're done. They're done unless they offer crypto buying and selling. Then they're done, in my opinion. Also, synthetic financial offerings as well. So platforms like Synthetics potentially could, we could see a big pump with them. If you don't know Synthetics, I would advise you look into them. It's a bit long to go into it now, but I could see institutions sort of getting. I could see institutions using platforms. I could see institutions using platforms like Synthetics in order to go about their institutional business and whatnot. Also, decentralized exchanges, I do believe they are here to stay. Now, will there be a Uniswap killer? Who knows? Many have tried, none have won, so many have failed. But bear that in mind. I do believe if Uniswap are able to come up with a version 3 where they can have like limit orders or something of that order, that would be amazing. Other platforms have tried to do that, like Unilayer or Unitrade, but the gas fees are too high. So hopefully when ETH 2.0 comes out, then in and around that time, I know it's like 2 years from now, but in and around that time, if Uniswap can come out with a V3, limit orders, all that good stuff, that would be amazing. Another thing to look out for is NFTs, guys. NFTs. Ultimately, platforms like Bondi, and there's other platforms that I failed to mention, but in the previous years or so, CryptoKitties was booming, and if we are yet to see a new wave of retail, then potentially this could be a very, very big trend. It already is quite, and it's a niche thing, but it's a good way to hustle